In the next 40 minutes or less, you will witness the rise of an empire. 60 years, 60 champions, and the stories that turned a simple game into the biggest show on earth. From the first pass in 1967 to the multi-billion-dollar spectacle we see today, you are about to watch the ultimate guide to the Super Bowl. Every game, every legend, and every curiosity. If you are part of the international audience like me, or an American trying to remember the details, this is the video that you were searching for. Before the hype, American football was a divided battlefield. Since 1920, the NFL was the undisputed king. But in 1960, a rival emerged, the AFL. What followed was a brutal league war. The AFL was rich, aggressive, and started stealing the NFL's top stars. By 1966, the bidding wars for players became unsustainable. A merger was the only way out. To decide who truly ruled the game, both leagues agreed to a World Championship game. Lamar Hunt, owner of the Chiefs, suggested the name Super Bowl after seeing his son playing with a Super Bowl. The NFL commissioner hated it at first, thinking it lacked sophistication. He was wrong. The fans loved it, and in January 1967, the world changed forever. Super Bowl won the beginning, or better saying, the AFL-NFL World Championship. The first AFL-NFL World Championship was the only one broadcasted by two networks till 2007, CBS and NBC. The clash united Vince Lombardi's Packers, representing NFL tradition, against the Rebel Chiefs. The stakes: legitimacy for the NFL or the AFL. The MVP, Bart Starr. The legendary QB dissected the Chiefs' defense with amazing precision, throwing for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. His calm leadership prevented panic when the game was close at halftime. Green Bay won 35-10, proving the veteran league still reigned supreme. Super Bowl II, The Last Dance. This was Vince Lombardi's final game in Green Bay. The Packers faced the Oakland Raiders in a match that felt like a coronation. The MVP, Bart Starr, did it again, becoming the first back-to-back MVP. He threw for 202 yards and commanded long, exhausting drives under the Miami sun. After the 33-14 victory, Lombardi was carried off the field on his players' shoulders. The dynasty was complete, and the trophy would soon bear his name. Super Bowl III, The Guarantee. The biggest upset in sports history. Or maybe on Super Bowl. The Baltimore Colts were the favorites, but Jets QB Joe Namath famously guaranteed a victory. The MVP, Joe Namath. Remarkably, he won the MVP without throwing a single touchdown. He won with his mind, constantly calling audibles at the line of scrimmage to exploit the Colts' predictable zone defense. The Jets' 16-7 win validated the AFL-NFL merger and proved that the underdog league belonged. Super Bowl IV, the chess match. Chiefs coach Hank Stram wore a microphone for the first time. The MVP, Len Dawson. Despite facing a massive personal controversy in the media that week for falsely being involved on a gambling accusation, Dawson remained focused, completing 12 of the 17 passes to neutralize the Vikings' defense. The secret of the victory was the 65-toss power trap, a perfectly timed run where the guards pulled to create a massive hole for a touchdown. Kansas City won 23-7, ending the pre-merger era with the AFL and the NFL tied at 2 wins each. Super Bowl V, the Blunder Bowl. The first Super Bowl of the post-merger era was an absolute mess. Now the AFL and the NFL are the NFL that we know. The game had a slippery artificial turf and it featured a record of 11 turnovers. The MVP, Chuck Hawley. To this day, he is the only player for a losing team to win MVP. The Cowboys linebacker had 2 interceptions and forced a fumble, the only beacon of quality in this chaotic game. The Colts eventually won 16-13 on a last-second field goal. Super Bowl VI, Captain America. After years of being labeled the team that couldn't win the big one, the Cowboys finally won. The MVP, Roger Staubach. He showed the world the power of a scrambler QB, escaping pressure to throw 2 touchdowns. This is where the legend of Captain America was born. Staubach wasn't just wearing the Cowboys star. He was a real-life war hero who served in Vietnam before joining the NFL. Dallas crushed Miami 24-3, a total defensive masterclass. Super Bowl VII, the perfect season. The Miami Dolphins were undefeated, facing Washington for immortality. The MVP, Jake Scott. The safety intercepted 2 passes, including one in his own end zone to cue a potential comeback. Miami's no-name defense was flawless. They remained the only team to ever finish the season 17-0. Super Bowl VIII, brute force. Miami proved their perfection wasn't a fluke by absolutely steamrolling the Vikings. The MVP, Larry Tonka. A physical force of nature, Tonka ran for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns, literally bruising the defenders. Miami was so dominant on the ground that quarterback Bob Grease only needed to throw 7 passes the entire game. Miami won 24-7, securing back-to-back titles. Super Bowl IX, the steel curtain rises. The birth of the Pittsburgh Steelers dynasty. It was a brutal defensive battle where the first score was a safety, the first in Super Bowl history. The MVP, Franco Harris. While the defense suffocated Minnesota, the fullback Franco Harris provided the engine, rushing for 158 yards and a touchdown. Pittsburgh's defense held the Vikings to a pathetic 17 rushing yards. After 40 years of losing, the Steel City finally had its first ring. Super Bowl X, the turning point. This was the game that changed everything. In America's bicentennial year, the Steelers faced the Cowboys. The MVP, Lane Swann. He delivered the most beautiful performance by a receiver ever. His 64-yard touchdown catch, leaping over defenders, looked like a movie scene. Pittsburgh won 21-17. This game changed everything. Its massive success officially made the NFL America's #1 sport, leaving baseball behind. The Super Bowl was no longer just a game. It was a national holiday. The new era. As the 70s progressed, the Super Bowl was no longer just a game. It was becoming a cultural phenomenon. New dynasties were born, and the new era of a superstar quarterback officially took over the world stage. Super Bowl XI, the Raiders' revenge. Joe Madden's Raiders finally broke their curse. After years of playoff heartbreak, they dominate the Vikings from start to finish. The MVP, Fred Biletnikoff. The wide receiver was surgical. While he didn't score, his precise routes and clutch catches set up 3 short touchdowns. It was a masterclass in receiving that left Minnesota with their 4th and final Super Bowl loss of the decade. Super Bowl XII, Doomsday in the Superdome. The first Super Bowl played indoors and in prime time. It was a nightmare for Denver's Orange Crush offense. The MVP, not just 1, but 2, Harvey Martin and Randy White. This was the first time and only time that we had 2 MVPs on a Super Bowl. These 2 defensive icons led a unit that forced a staggering 8 turnovers. Dallas proved that their Doomsday defense was the gold standard of the NFL. Super Bowl XIII, the battle of the decade. A rematch of the Super Bowl X to decide who would be the first team to win 3 rings. The MVP, Terry Bradshaw. He exploded for 318 yards and 4 touchdowns, a record at that time. With the victory, the Steelers claimed their 3rd title. Super Bowl XIV, the 4th ring. Played before a record crowd of over 103,000 people at the Rose Bowl, the Steelers were looking for immortality. The MVP, Terry Bradshaw. He won back-to-back MVPs despite throwing 3 interceptions. When it mattered most, in the 4th quarter, Bradshaw found John Stallworth for a massive 73-yard touchdown to seal the victory. Pittsburgh became the first team to win 4 Super Bowls. Super Bowl XV, the redemption. Just 5 days after the release of the American hostages in Iran, in the case portrayed in the Oscar-winning movie Argo, the United States were in a patriotic fever. The MVP, Jim Plunkett. Once labeled a draft bust, Plunkett completed his redemption arc by throwing for 261 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Raiders made history as the first wildcard team to go all the way and lift the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Super Bowl XVI, the birth of Joe Cool. The arrival of Bill Walsh's West Coast offense changed football forever. The MVP, Joe Montana. In his first Super Bowl, Montana led a 92-yard drive with the poise that earned him the nickname Joe Cool. A goal line stand by the 49ers defense in the 3rd quarter secured the start of a legendary dynasty. Super Bowl XVII, the diesel engine. In a season shortened by a strike, Washington's Hawks offensive line dominated the trenches. The MVP, Joe Riggins. Known as the Diesel, the fullback John Riggins rushed for a then record 166 yards. His iconic 43 yards touchdown run on the 4th down, where he literally shrugged off a defender, is one of the most famous plays in NFL history. Super Bowl XVIII, Black Sunday. The Raiders brought a title to Los Angeles in a total blowout. This also was the day that Apple's 1984 commercial aired, changing advertising forever. The MVP, Marcus Allen. He delivered a spectacular 191-yard rushing performance. His 74-yard touchdown run, where he reversed field and outran the entire Washington defense, remains a staple of Super Bowl highlight reels. Super Bowl XIX, Montana versus Marino. It was the ultimate showdown, the efficiency of Joe Montana against the record-breaking arm of young Tom Marino. The MVP, Joe Montana. Montana was nearly perfect, throwing for 331 yards and 3 touchdowns, while also rushing for 59 yards. Marino had a historic season, but on this night, the 49 system was untouchable. Super Bowl XX, the Monsters of the Midway. The 1985 Bears are arguably the greatest defense to ever play the game. They even recorded a rap song, the Super Bowl Shuffle, before winning it all. The MVP, Richard Dent. The defensive end led the terrifying 46 defense, recording 1.5 sack and forcing 2 fumbles. It was a total massacre that confirmed the Super Bowl as a global event with over 100 million viewers. The Golden Age. As the 80s hit their peak, the Super Bowl transformed into a global spectacle. It was a time of record-breaking performances, the birth of the Gatorade shower, and the rise of the most iconic dynasties in American football history. Super Bowl XXI, the Giants arrive. This was the night Bill Parcells and Lawrence Taylor brought the Lombardi Trophy to the Big Apple. The MVP, Phil Simms. He delivered one of the most efficient games ever, completing 22 of 25 passes, an incredible 88 completion rate. The Giants dominated the second half, and the world saw the first ever Gatorade shower on a head coach. Super Bowl 22, a historic explosion. History was made in San Diego as Doug Williams became the first black quarterback to start and win a Super Bowl. The MVP, Doug Williams. Despite an early 10-point deficit, Williams orchestrated a second quarter explosion, throwing 4 touchdowns in a single period, a record that still stands. Washington scored 35 unanswered points in just 15 minutes, leaving Denver stunned. Super Bowl 23, The Drive. This game is immortalized by 92 yards and 11 plays. The MVP, Jerry Rice. He was unstoppable, recording 11 catches for a record 215 yards. But it was Joe Cool Montana who sealed it. Trailing with 3 minutes left, Montana famously calmed his huddle by pointing out celebrity John Candy in the stands before driving the length of the field for the winning score. Super Bowl 24, Total Domination. The most loop-sided Super Bowl in history. San Francisco proved that they were the team of the decade. The MVP, Joe Montana. In his 4th title win, Montana threw a record 5 touchdowns. The 45-point margin and the 55 points scored by the 49ers remain all-time Super Bowl records, cementing Montana's legacy as an elite winner. Super Bowl 25, Wide Right. Played during the Gulf War, this game featured Whitney Houston's legendary national anthem. The MVP, Otis Anderson. The veteran running back grounded out 102 yards to keep Buffalo's high-powered offense off the field. The game was decided on the final play, a 47-yard field goal attempted by Scott Norwood that sailed wide right, starting a tragic run for Buffalo. Super Bowl 26, the third man. Coach Joe Gibbs achieved something impossible, winning 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. The MVP, Mark Rypien. He used his powerful arm to exploit the Bills' secondary, throwing for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. Buffalo's key gun offense couldn't find its rhythm, and Washington claimed their 3rd title of the era. Super Bowl 27, Dallas is back. That's the Super Bowl that Michael Jackson changed the halftime show forever. The MVP, Troy Aikman. He was nearly perfect, throwing 4 touchdowns with laser-like precision. Buffalo committed a record of 9 turnovers, and the Cowboys officially announced the return of a new dynasty in Texas. Super Bowl 28, repeat performance. The only time the same 2 teams met in consecutive Super Bowls. The MVP, Emmitt Smith. With the game on the line in the second half, Dallas put the ball in Smith's hands. He carried the load with 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. For Buffalo, it was a heartbreaking 4th straight loss. A feat of resilience, but ultimate disappointment. Super Bowl 29, the burden is gone. Steve Young finally stepped out of Joe Montana's shadow and silenced all his critics. The MVP, Steve Young. He delivered a historic performance, throwing a staggering 6 touchdowns, a record that still stands today. Super Bowl 30, the Cowboys' last ride. A renewal of the classic 70s rivalry, but this time it was an unlikely hero who took the spotlight. The MVP, Larry Brown. The cornerback intercepted 2 New O'Donnell passes, setting up Dallas for easy scores. The win secured the Cowboys' 3rd title in 4 years, making them the undisputed team of the 90s. The modern dawn. As the 20th century came to a close, the Super Bowl reached new heights of global popularity. This era marked the return of legendary franchises to glory, the rise of unlikely heroes, and the beginning of the greatest dynasty the sports world has ever seen. Super Bowl 31. Titletown is back. The Lombardi Trophy finally returned to Green Bay. Brett Favre launched 2 massive touchdowns, but it was a special team star who stole the show. The MVP? Desmond Howard. He remains the only special teams player to ever win MVP. Just as the Patriots were mounting a comeback, Howard returned a 99-yard kickoff for a touchdown, sealing the game and Favre's legacy. Super Bowl 32. This one's for John. After 3 heartbreaking Super Bowl losses, John Elway finally reached the mountaintop. The MVP? Terrell Davis. Despite playing through a severe migraine that left him temporarily blind, Davis rushed for 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. Elway's helicopter dive for a first down became the symbol of his relentless will to win. Super Bowl 33, the last ride. In what would be the final game of his legendary career, John Elway went out on top. The MVP? John Elway. At 38 years old, he became the oldest MVP at the time, throwing for 336 yards and a touchdown. Denver secured back-to-back titles, and Elway rode off into the sunset as a back-to-back champion. Super Bowl 34, the longest yard. The greatest show on turf against the ultimate underdog. The MVP? Kurt Warner. The former grocery store clerk threw for a record 414 yards. But the game is remembered for the tackle. Linebacker Mike Jones stopping Tennessee's Kevin Dyson just 1 yard short of the end zone as time expired. Super Bowl 35, defensive domination. This was a masterclass in defensive football. The Ravens unit is often cited as the greatest in modern history. The MVP? Ray Lewis. He led a defense that allowed 0 offensive touchdowns and just 152 total yards. It was the first title for Baltimore, proving that defense wins championships was more than just a cliche. Super Bowl 36, the start of a dynasty. The Rams were 14-point favorites, but a young backup quarterback named Tom Brady had other plans. The MVP? Tom Brady. In a high-pressure final drive with no timeouts, Brady drove the length of the field to set up Adam Vinatieri's game-winning 48-yard field goal. It was the birth of the Patriots empire. Super Bowl 37, the Pirate Bowl. Coach John Gruden faced the team that had traded him away just months before, and he knew all their secrets. The MVP? Dexter Jackson. The safety intercepted 2 passes in the first half, paralyzing the Raiders' league-leading offense. Tampa Bay's defense returned 3 interceptions for touchdowns, a dominant performance for their first title. Super Bowl 38, the Cardiac Bats. One of the most thrilling finals quarters in history. After a scoreless start, the game exploded into an offense duel. The MVP? Tom Brady. He threw for 354 yards and 3 touchdowns, once again leading a late drive for another Vinatieri game winner. Super Bowl 39, the triple play. The Patriots officially became a dynasty, winning their 3rd title in 4 years. The MVP? Deion Branch. He tied the record with 11 catches for 133 yards, becoming Brady's most reliable weapon. Terrell Owens played heroically for the Eagles on a broken leg, but New England's precision was too much to overcome. Super Bowl 40. The buzz stops here. A homecoming for the buzz, Jerome Bettis, in his final game. The MVP, Hines Ward. The wide receiver caught 5 passes for 123 yards, including a touchdown from fellow receiver Antoine Handel on a spectacular trick play. Big Ben Roethlisberger became the youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl, securing Pittsburgh's 5th ring. The Modern Masters. We now enter the era of the Modern Masters, a decade defined by legendary quarterbacks finally finding glory, impossible upsets that stunned the world, and a 50th anniversary that celebrated the game's golden legacy. Super Bowl 41, Reign and Redemption. Under a torrential downpour in Miami, Peyton Manning finally silenced his critics. The MVP, Peyton Manning. He kept his cool in the mud and rain, throwing for 247 yards to secure his first ring. Despite Devin Hester's historic opening kickoff return for a touchdown for the Bears, Manning's leadership ensured the Colts' coronation. Super Bowl 42, the impossible upset. The New England Patriots were 18-0, seeking football immortality, but the Giants had other plans. The MVP, Eli Manning. He escaped a surefire sack to find David Tyree for the legendary helmet catch. That miracle play set up the winning touchdown, shattering the Patriots' perfect season and proving that on any given Sunday, anything is possible. Super Bowl 43, the toe tap miracle. Pittsburgh was hunting for a record 6th title in a game that went down to the final seconds. The MVP, Santonio Holmes. After James Harrison's incredible 100-yard interception return, Holmes sealed the game with a spectacular toe tap catch in the corner of the end zone. It was a heartbreaker for Kurt Warner's Cardinals and a historic night for the Steel City. Super Bowl 44, Ambush in Miami. Just years after the tragedy of Hurricane Katrina, the Saints brought hope back to New Orleans. The MVP, Drew Brees. He was nearly perfect, tying the record with 32 completions. The turning point was Coach Sean Payton's daring ambush onside kick to start the second half, a gamble that changed the momentum and led the Saints to their first championship. Super Bowl 45, return to Titletown. Aaron Rodgers officially stepped out of the shadow of the past to bring back the trophy to Green Bay. The MVP, Aaron Rodgers. With elite precision, Rodgers threw for 304 yards and 3 touchdowns without a single turnover. Against one of the league's toughest defenses, he proved he was the new king of the frozen tundra. Super Bowl 46. Eli did it again. History repeats itself as Eli Manning once again became the Patriots' ultimate nemesis. The MVP, Eli Manning. He led another masterful late-game drive, highlighted by an impossible sideline pass to Mario Manningham. For the second time in 4 years, the Giants' underdog spirit overcame the New England powerhouse. Super Bowl 47, the Blackout Bowl. It was a battle between brothers, Gene versus John Harbaugh. A game so intense, the lights literally went out. The MVP, Joe Flacco. After a 34-minute power outage that delayed the game, Flacco remained composed, capping a legendary playoff run with 287 yards and 3 scores. It was the perfect retirement gift for defensive icon Ray Lewis. Super Bowl 48, the Legion of Boom. The massacre of the Legion of Boom. Led by stars Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Ken Chancellor, and Byron Maxwell, Seattle brought the league's best defense to face Peyton Manning's record-breaking offense. The defense didn't just win, it dominated. The MVP, Malcolm Smith. The linebacker was everywhere, recording a pick six and a fumble recovery. Seattle's Legion of Boom shut down Peyton Manning from the very first snap, securing the franchise's first ever Super Bowl title in a landslide. Super Bowl 49, the miracle at the one. The game that ended a decade of waiting for New England. It came down to the most controversial play call in history. The MVP, Tom Brady. He led a 10-point fourth quarter comeback against an elite defense. But the hero was rookie Malcolm Butler, who intercepted Russell Wilson at the goal line with seconds left, clinching Brady's fourth ring. Super Bowl 50, the Golden Jubilee. The 50th edition of the Super Bowl was a celebration of defense. The MVP, Von Miller. He was an unstoppable nightmare for the Panthers, forcing two crucial fumbles that led to Denver's scores. It was the last rodeo for Peyton Manning, who retired a champion as the Broncos defense carried the team to glory. The GOAT prophecy is real. We have reached the modern peak of the game, an era of impossible comebacks, the crowning of the undisputed GOAT, and the rise of a new kingdom in Kansas City. This is the final chapter of our journey so far. Super Bowl 51. Come on, Atlanta. The greatest comeback in sports history. Trailing by 25 points in the third quarter, the Patriots looked defeated. The MVP, Tom Brady. He shattered records with 466 passing yards, leading 5 consecutive scoring drives to force the first ever overtime in Super Bowl history. When James White dived into the end zone for the win, Brady secured his 5th ring, officially surpassing Joe Montana. Super Bowl 52, the Philly Special. The Hungry Dogs from Philadelphia took on the Empire in a record-breaking shootout. The MVP, Nick Foles. The backup turned hero threw for 373 yards, but his legendary moment came on the Philly Special, where he became the first quarterback to ever catch a touchdown pass in a Super Bowl. Even with Brady throwing for a record 505 yards, the Eagles' boldness secured their first ever Lombardi trophy. Super Bowl 53, the defensive masterclass. The lowest scoring Super Bowl in history was a tactical war between Bill Belichick and young prodigy Sean McVay. The MVP, Julian Edelman. In a game where touchdowns were rare, Edelman was the engine, racking up 10 catches for 141 yards. New England secured their 6th title, tying the Steelers for the most in history and marking the end of the legendary Brady-Belichick era in Foxborough. Super Bowl 54, the Chiefs' reawakening. After a 50-year drought, the Chiefs returned to the summit, led by a young superstar. The MVP, Patrick Mahomes. Trailing 2010 with only 6 minutes left, Mahomes unleashed the Jack Chip Wasp, playing on 3rd and 15, sparking a 21-point explosion. The Mahomes era had officially begun. Super Bowl 55, the GOAT. At 43 years old, Tom Brady moved to Tampa Bay to prove he could win anywhere. The MVP, Tom Brady. He dominated the game with 3 touchdowns, outplaying the young Mahomes. By winning his 7th ring, more than any single franchise in NFL history, Tom Brady officially cemented his status as the undisputed GOAT. He proved that greatness has no expiration date. Super Bowl 56, all in Hollywood. The Rams traded everything to win a title in their own stadium, the SoFi Stadium. The MVP, Cooper Kupp. After an almost triple crown season, Kupp caught the game-winning touchdown. While Joe Burrow led a brave Bengals effort, the Rams' star power, led by Aaron Donald's final defense stand, kept the trophy in Hollywood. Super Bowl 57, the Kelce Bowl. A historic night featuring the first ever Super Bowl matchup between two brothers, Jason and Travis Kelce. The MVP, Patrick Mahomes. Despite a re-injured ankle, Mahomes was flawless in the second half, leading the Chiefs to points on every single possession. It was a high-scoring masterclass decided by a clutch Harrison Butker field goal in the final seconds. Super Bowl 58, the new dynasty. The first Super Bowl in Las Vegas history and only the second to go into overtime. The MVP, Patrick Mahomes. In a grueling defensive battle, Mahomes drove the length on the field in overtime to find Mecole Hardman for the winning score. With 3 titles in 5 years, the Chiefs officially became the NFL's newest dynasty. Super Bowl 59, the Samba Boys. Everyone knows that the Eagles starting their season with Samba in Brazil, with me as a witness, was the key to their Super Bowl win. The MVP, Jalen Hurts. In a dominant performance, Hurts accounted for 3 touchdowns and broke the record for rushing yards by a quarterback in a Super Bowl. The Eagles' defense suffocated Patrick Mahomes, holding the Chiefs to a historic low in the first half and ending Kansas City's quest for a 3rd consecutive title. Super Bowl 60, the Seahawks reign again. The Seattle Seahawks avenged their painful loss from 11 years ago by dominating the New England Patriots. The MVP, Kenneth Walker III. The running back was the engine of the Seahawks offense, rushing for 135 yards and becoming the first running back to win the MVP award in 28 years. Thank you for joining us on this definitive journey through history. Leave a comment below with your favorite Super Bowl. And click on this next video to see more incredible stories about the NFL.